Hello, everybody. Good afternoon and welcome. This is Marcela Mores podcast, and today we have a very, very, very special guest that is very well known here in Nova Scotia and in other parts of the world as well. We're going to be talking about that very soon. So it's a Cape Breton boy, grown in Badek, multi instrumentally, great man, great father, great musician, and we're really excited to have you here. Obviously, we're talking about our friend Keith Mullins, uh, and yeah, so this was put together like fairly recent. So I'm glad that Keith jumps on board. Let's welcome Keith Mullins.
Hey,
How you doing, brother?
doing great, man.
Let me
Great,
just
Marcel.
double check that the live is going. Yeah, I started with this
Yeah,
crazy
we got three
idea.
there.
Oh, you can see it.
Yeah,
Perfecto.
cheers.
Yeah,
Salud.
man. Salud. I didn't open my wine, but yeah, I'm having a little bit of a healthy drink. This is called kefir, water kefir.
Oh yeah, I
It's
love that stuff. Yeah.
it's good for. This is a plain one, but I found it is good for giving just a little bit of boost of energy. I used to do
Yeah,
that when I
yeah.
was in high school, and yeah, and I'm feeling better. I just had like a tooth fixed this afternoon.
Uh-huh.
I was just a
Uh-huh.
little all nervous with the with the dentist asking him a bunch of questions. Oh, is the X-rays going to be too much because they had to do like four things. Anyway, I even asked him to put a little bit less of the anesthesia because the previous time I felt a little weird. Man,
Oh yeah.
you feel like you have a hole in your face, right? Like
Right.
it's so interesting.
Right.
Anyway,
No.
congratulations for a new father.
Thank you.
Wonderful
Yeah, yeah.
news.
I have a new girl. Her name is Lila. I wonder if I could bring up a picture maybe of her. Let's see. She's so beautiful, man. She's
Yeah,
it's
I've seen
just
the
like
pictures.
the best the best feeling ever.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
You've,
she was
I just
born really early.
you mentioned that, yeah.
Um, yeah, like 35 weeks. But she's home now after she was like almost 2 weeks in the hospital, and I had to hold down the fort because I have three other kids. So I held down the fort and made supper and got them off to school and got my work done. Well, during COVID, I built because all my gigs were canceled.
Yeah,
I had festival gigs. I had like European tour. I had a cross Canada tour. I had a
man.
large corporate gig with Sobeys that would have been like, 3 4 months pay, all
Nice.
gone. And so what I did was, well, I thought that I might have to be a carpenter at one point, and because I had over the years I had gutted out and flipped a few houses on weekdays when I was, I'd work during weekends as a musician, pay the bills, and then during the weekdays I would work on carpentry stuff. Usually my dad would help, and he taught me, mentored me through all the parts. And then I said, and I always had a dream of starting a studio because I had some really nice microphones, some hand built boutique preamps, just directly into my computer. So I can't record a lot of instruments at a time, but I can record a few. So I took 3 months from, so it was like June, July, August, 4 months, June to September last year, and just went at it all day, every day, until I had a 12 by 16 burn studio, and this is it. And so I've recorded since January now. I'm into 5 albums that I've recorded for three different artists.
Oh
Plus,
wow.
I wrote 15 songs with Petitcodiac Regional School in New Brunswick, and I did a record for myself. And so we'll have 5 albums. Like I think it's over like 60 songs that I've done in the past 3 months out of this little burn in my backyard, and I love it. Like going to work in my stretchy pants and like just like waking up in the morning with my coffee, going out. and mentoring these like amazing young artists that I've kind of taken on. I've co-written songs with them. I wrote grants for them. I got all grants, which also that gave me like a solid base to work from. And I mentored them through the grants, and we got those grants. I got them set up GoFundMe's. They all did GoFundMe's. So now we're like at the tail end of having like these 50 or 60 songs finished, and a few videos are almost being done, and we've got
All of your
I got
studio?
this. Yeah, yeah, and
Sweet.
I got this guy Morgan Tony. He's Mi'kmaq First Nation. He's just fantastic fiddler, and he sings in Mi'kmaq, and we write the songs together, and we talk about Mi'kmaq philosophy and Mi'kmaq spirituality, and then we take like popular phrases within the language and write songs about it. And actually, this shirt, the story in the song, CDC commissioned us to write a song for them. We wrote this tune called Alasudamakan, and got a band in and stuff like that. And then we just got we're doing a thing with the National Indigenous Summit, who are partnered with Apple, and they just sent us an iPhone 12, and to do all our shooting on, because it all has to be shot on iPhones, and and so Morgan is like, he's already like taken off, I think.
Man, congratulations. That's all.
So
It's all
that's all.
good.
That's what's going on
I
about.
saw you. Yeah, I saw all the. I follow all your posting like last year with the pandemic when you started like sending out some inquiries about how to build a shed, some getting some more ideas,
Right.
and I
That's
s-
right.
I
Yeah.
saw the whole process. So yeah, and look, with it
And you know
less than a
what? You
year,
know
you're
what I love
done.
about you? What I love about you, and I remember when you came to Celtic Colors, and you blew my mind,
What?
because when because you are Cuban piper, so you had this Cape Breton Cuban thing going on, and I had never met, and I had lived in Cuba for 4 months, and have a huge love and passion for Cuban music, and I studied Santeria and studied with like drummers on the streets of Cuba and played in Callejón de Hamel, and I love Cuban music so much. So when you came to Cape Breton, I was like, there's someone else in the world that loves Cape Breton and Cuban music. Who is this guy?
No,
And you just, that blew my mind, hearing you play, like music that I knew as a kid, you know, and hearing it with almost like, a little bit more of a groove to it,
yeah,
a
it's a
little
little,
bit,
yeah.
you
It belongs
know?
to the same family, yeah, with the Spanish pies, yeah, which I can you can get me started. I can go on and on talking about the pipes. But yeah, this northern Spain bagpipes, Galician and Asturian, they have differences with the Highland pipes, but there's definitely a lot of like common grounds in the culture. But yeah, the music changed when it gets into the Spanish Peninsula. It changed. Response to their own tradition, and there's obviously the uh, similarities or the equivalents of the Irish and Scottish reels and jigs and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But then that music travels to Cuba, right?
Yes.
And then it evolves there with the influences of the Afro-Cuban music. And even though when in Cuba, when people perform at the Spanish Society, when they perform the Galician or Asturian music, there's a swing that happens there that doesn't happen quite there back in Spain. And then there's like when you get the drummers on them, the drummers, they just put their spin into the high. I mean, they're not like they're like traditional like wooden made like snare drums.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, they put the spin on that, and it just makes it. And also the music arrangement of the music of the pipe tunes that are being arranged and composed in Cuba, they have a completely different character. And I think that's that brings a lot of beauty to how music travels. And now that you mentioned the Cuba connection, which I had planned on asking you early on, How did that happen, man? I don't remember when we met a couple of years ago. You told me a little bit about that, but refresh my mind.
We
How did the
did.
connection with the
We met
Spanish and
briefly. Well, okay. Sorry. What was your question?
okay, yeah, we can go back to that one. My question was, how was your Spanish connection, your Cuban Spanish connection? Yeah, your connection with the Cuban music and the Spanish culture and language, because you do speak Spanish as well. How'd that happen?
Um, the only reason I learned to speak Spanish was so that I could talk to my teachers in Cuba.
Awesome.
Um, when well, I was a drummer for a lot of it. I had a solid career as a drummer. I'm 43 now. When I was 20, like from the time I was like 15 until the only thing I've ever really done as a job is music. The music in my family. Everybody in my family plays. My first cousin, my mother's is Gordy Sampson, who's written #1 hits. I have multitudes of cousins. Our grandfather was a fiddler. He had his own TV show in Cape Breton called The Barn Dance, and he was on a show called The Don Messer Show a bunch of times. And it's all over my family. So, uh, as a drummer, from the time I was 15 until maybe I was about around 30, and I played with everybody, and had I'm mostly educated in drums. And where are all the best drummers in the world? In Cuba, right? All the best drummers are in Cuba. You know, as far as ability and groove, that combination of ability and groove, all the best drummers are in Cuba, in my mind. So I had, I was going to university. I was studying jazz at Saint FX,
Nice.
but my degree is in classical music. But I did 1 year at Saint FX, and I hadn't gotten my student loan. It was late; hadn't gotten it until December. But I had paid for all my living expenses through playing with bands on the weekends. So I paid all my rent, all my bills were all paid for. And then I got this big chunk of money, like a few $1,000s. I applied for a grant. It was like Nova Scotia, like a provincial grant. So I got a little money from them. I was 22. This was like 2002. So was still like, Cuba had gone through some hard times previous to that, and they were just kind of coming out of a slump, you know. And but there were some exciting things happening there. You know, it was when Fidel was like starting the vegetarian restaurants, and there were some things were coming around,
Yeah.
and so I had a place to stay for 3 days. I was going to stay for a month. I was 22 years old. I'd been on tours to like Europe with bands, but that itineraries were set. But I had never traveled anywhere like that. And I had a drive from the airport to the place that I was staying for 3 days, and then I had to find a place to live for the month and find all my. I had a few teachers, like I studied with Enrique Pla, and I studied who is like if people know who Enrique Pla is, he's like, one of the most um, innovative players that took the rhythms from Cuban instruments and brought them over to the drum set. And so I had some lessons hooked up with him and a few other guys, but then I just like went out on the streets and looked for players. And when I saw somebody that I would like, I would just say, I want to study with you. I got this much money. We can do it every day, until my hands bleed for the next two
Smart move.
weeks. And that I think it's really important when you're coming from outside and you're coming into a different culture. And I think it's so important to pay homage and pay respect to the culture and the people. And I think in order to really truly be able to play Cuban music, I think you have to see thousands of people down the street very slowly, or you have to go into someone's home and share a glass of rum, and you have to, like you really have to, if you really want to dig in to the way they play the music and why they play the music that way, you got to go there, and and I knew that young from a young age. Otherwise, I was just like some white dude trying to play on other people's music, but I was
Yeah.
doing it, to make me a better musician. And I never, I always, like when I was 8 years old, I remember my older brother. He's like, "You don't like music," and I was like, "Not right," because I was playing music all every day. I Since I was a baby, I played piano and all the instruments, but I was like, I just don't like the music that's on the radio. you know and we always had family jams, and I always loved like music from all over the world.
Yeah, I
I
was
was
gonna
like,
ask exactly about that, like the your diverse taste, right? Yeah, like coming
uh-huh,
normally in Cape Breton Island, as well as other, like back in our time when we were growing up, it was maybe back then not that open to world music. Am I
uh-huh.
right when I say that?
Yeah, yep,
Hmm. But
yep,
but you found your way. Just
yeah. I mean, I guess I just listened and like was like, what are those guys doing? Oh my god, how do I do that? How do I? And it's just like a journey for me to make myself better and better, a better human being, better musician, to understand, other people's cultures and paying respect, and doing all the things that it takes to learn the music, because I think my best quality is that I connect with people through music, and the better that I can do that, then the better I am as a person.
so
All of me.
you put your investment in that. That's really good.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And that's
Yeah.
exactly, as you said, that's exactly the way to approach Cubans, right? Because we're um, that's one of the connections I found when I uh, met you guys in Cape Breton at Celtic Colors. I was just We were very happy. You were so happy and welcoming to have us here. I mean, plus we were pretty exotic uh,
Uh-huh.
specimens. Like what, Cuban pipers?
Uh-huh.
What? It's almost like a joke,
Exactly.
right?
Oh,
But you
it
were
was. Yeah, and you guys blew everybody's mind.
so I think it was like I think it was, yeah, it was that connection. And I'm pretty sure that across the world is well known that we have this island personality or island hospitality thing.
Mentality.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
think for somehow some so to a degree some sort of population isolation. I don't know. People get to keep their tradition more kept. There's less
Yeah,
at the
yep.
early years. There's less other a lot of influences. Not a lot of influence coming in as much, so you can keep that. But I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Yeah.
I'm just paraphrasing here.
But it is, and you're right, and it's an island mentality. And I think, and so my first time I went for a month, and then I went back a few times for like a week or two, and then I lived there for 3 months after that. And what I realized, what I loved so much about it, was that it reminded me of home.
Yeah,
And actually I had lived in Halifax, where that's where you are. I'd lived in Halifax for a long time, and I think living in Cuba and mentoring and studying with a babalao, with a Santo priest. He did my fortunes and stuff like this, and spending time with him and doing readings with him was really where it all really came together and made me move back home to Cape Breton, because Cuba, I knew there was something missing in my life, and going to Cuba made me realize how much I love home, so I moved back home.
yeah. No, that's beautiful. Yeah, and then just to provide a little bit of information. Babalao is one of the Afro-Cuban religions that are practiced in Cuba, and they have their own like Afro-Cuban rhythms that have to do with the country or the region of Africa where they came from.
Mm-hmm.
What was that, man? That's just what was that experience like?
It was the best, man. It was amazing. I
Did they
was
read? Was it
I
like
was like cleansed, and people. I always blew people's mind because I was singing in Yoruba and like playing bata, and they're
so
like
you
people
learned
are
the
like,
Yoruba?
yeah, yeah,
Nice. You
yeah.
got a good ear.
Paraswayo, omonyala wana mama Kenya irago, eh. You know that one?
Che, I've heard it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Okay, so and I'm always like blowing people's minds because I'm like this guy with a Cape Breton accent coming in, and but because I'm paying respect and learning it properly and doing all the things that it takes, then people would always, I'd always get a smile out of them.
yeah, I think it's the right
Um,
road to engage with the people, and
yeah,
especially if you
yeah,
show the interest, the real interest, right?
right,
Not
right.
another
And
turista, like not another
not
tourist.
another turista, exactly. And talking when I would talk to people, they would quickly realize that I was that well, my first, I mean, everybody automatically assumed I was there for girls, and
22
everywhere you
year
go, you
old
want.
freshman, come on.
Oh yeah, exactly, man. And I was like, no, man, I'm here for the music. Be like
That's
girls, cigars, then maybe music, but only music because girls were at music shows.
Yeah. No, no, I'm glad that you put your time in, because that's definitely I interviewed a couple of weeks ago a good friend that he's played with me in several music projects. Glenn Fraser. He also learned in Cuba with Muñequitos de
Right,
Matanza. The
right.
and
He's
it's
he's
an amazing.
lucky.
Yeah, so it's beautiful. It's just beautiful to see that, because like sometimes we take too much, well, in humans in general, that we take too much proud and kind of in case of, oh, this is our culture and we want to protect it so much, but the culture is supposed to be shared with everybody. And
That's
to me, it's like
right.
it's an immerse, that respect that you're showing, and that interest. It's like, it's like it creates relief, it creates comfort, because they say, oh,
Yeah,
it's so beautiful to see how music travels, right? And there's no like well, shouldn't be, or at times we strive to not have too much politics involved into the music, and just let it expand and learn.
yeah. And that's another similarity with Cape Breton is that we have a lot of tourists. They come in, and sometimes they're like they drink. It's like the music is like drinking music and have fun, and sometimes it can be misrepresented,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and
No,
that goes
and
for any culture. I mean, if you look at any culture, it's been there is a certain part of misrepresentation going on for so many years.
no, that's indeed, man. Can you
Mm-hmm.
mention what are some of your? I was just thinking, you mentioned the really good influence that you have with Afro-Cuban music, um, with Enrique Pla.
Mm-hmm.
You engage with other like musicians down there? Because I
In
believe
Cuba?
you recorded an album there, right?
Yep, yep. So after I lived there for 4 months, it was always a dream of mine to make a record there. I mean, one of the biggest influences that I had at the time was Ry Cooder and the Buena Vista Social Club.
Yeah,
And I had dug deep into those records, and I love those records so much. And so I wanted to record at Egram, where those records were made, and so I knew through the intercultural intercambio cultural with Jeff Goodspeed, and was playing with Havana Fax and Los Primos, doing work with them, working with students from Cuba, working with students from Nova Scotia, and so I went down and got Jorge Chicoy and Avi Garcia and Tony
nice.
Rodriguez and Jorge's son, Oliver.
Yeah,
who plays he plays with Sylvia Rodriguez. Like just last week there was this woman from Colombia, and I said, "Oh, hablas español, sí, blah, blah, blah," and started talking. She said she was a huge fan of. She bought my CD, and she said, "Oh, I'm such a huge fan of Silvio Rodriguez." I said, "It's the same drummer."
yeah. Is that
Because he
like
plays with Silvio, and he's married to Silvio's daughter, I think.
what's his name again?
Oliver.
Oh,
Oliver.
Oliver.
Yeah,
It's
Jorge
Chico's son,
Chico's
right?
son. Yeah,
Chico's
yeah,
son. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
I've met him.
He plays with Silvio Rodriguez.
He's incredible. Yeah, he's been to Nova Scotia here like many years ago
Yeah, a few
before I came
times.
here. Yeah, no,
Uh huh.
he's amazing. Yeah, he's
Oh
something else.
man,
Really, really great guy too.
man. Oh, what a and what a great learning experience for me as with I had so much education in drums, but to watch Oliver play, man, is like just mind blowing.
Yeah, and a few years ago, when the Cubist opened up with all the bars, the private bars, I used to go with I think it was called Corner Cafe. They shut it down. I think a new owner took over, but there was I'm a huge fan of the Cuban singer songwriter Kelvis Ochoa. So I used to go
Ochoa,
and
yeah,
Kelvis Ochoa and Interactivo, and I think he did. Oliver did play with both of them, so I used to
right.
hang out there with him. And do you know
I think I saw
Interactivo
him
with
play at Zori Cuervo.
La Soria de Cuervo? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
are you familiar with Interactivo? Robertico Carcases.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know that name.
they're amazing. It's a beautiful fusion of well Afro-Cuban music, soul, and funk. They
Uh
just make
huh.
sort of similar to what Habana Abierta, like a project in the 90s, uh, they used to do, right? But also they
Mm-hmm.
put a lot of those layers of Afro-Cuban, Cuban soul, funk, and jazz. So all of those
Nice.
blended is incredible. Interactive, like interactive, right? It's
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah,
always have
yeah.
like different guests coming on, like going in and performing. It's yeah, it's an amazing experience. Yeah,
Mm.
tell me about your role models here in well in Cape Breton or in
Mm. My
Canada, the
role
States,
models.
or yeah, like
Oh
everybody has
man.
like some role models like growing up, or
Yeah.
and I think it's
Now, I
important
mean,
for new artists to for you to share that with them, right? Because
hmm. I have to think about it. I mean, a lot of the music that I listen to now is like I spend all day playing. So all the artists that I've taken on, um, I I play all the instruments to their tracks. So they come in and I co-write the song with them, and then they'll play a guitar track or a piano track and sing, and then I play all the instruments. And so I spend a lot of time. My ears are really have been really worn out at the end of the day. But I guess there's like the guy Gordy Sampson is my first cousin, and I talk to him a lot about things. Ask him a lot of. I probably drive him crazy, but I ask him a lot of questions, and he's a huge, always been a huge mentor to me, and I use like all my gear is just like me asking him questions and then going out and buying it one at a time. It's all stuff that he uses in his studio. Um, and then Shepard, Mike Sheppy at Lakewind. He does all my mixing and mastering, as well as John McLagan in St. John. So I'm always like these guys. I'm always driving these guys crazy with like, can you get this done? You get this done. What do I do if I do this? What do I need? What do you need? That um so that's kind of my I have a deep I spend a lot of music.
yeah,
So listening, my ears are done at the end of the day.
I know. Yeah, no, thank you. I know it's kind of like a maybe a tough question, but it's more to start a conversation because if
Uh-huh.
you were to ask me that question, I think
Yeah.
I will have to say where well right now maybe I mean the role models or the most influencers are these people, but 5 years ago they were different, right? So in my view, the way I operate, it goes by stages, right? Because music is so broad that you know
Uh-huh.
some people like, definitely, I mean, a lot of musicians, they may be more devoted to a particular style of music, therefore their idols will be, or role models will be more within that wheel.
Within that
uh
range.
yeah, within that range, correct. So but in our case, I believe, because we have different tastes and different interests in different music, uh it's hard to put it in a box, right? So I'll
Uh-huh.
go by stages. And maybe when I was growing up, this is what I was exposed to, and then this stage in high school or later in my freshman years at college, or but it's definitely a broad question that starts the conversation, and we get to know you a bit
Uh-huh.
more.
Yeah, I mean, when I was like 15 and 16, I was like playing in a band. I don't know if you know the band Slow Coaster? You ever hear that band?
I've heard about it. Yeah, I
Yeah, and it's Steve McDougal. So we had a band together, and we were like playing like, we were starting to smoke weed, and like so we were getting into like more like Pink Floyd and like
sweet.
the Doors and Led Zeppelin, and so we were trying to play all that stuff, and like smoking dope in the basement and jamming and staying out of trouble, and so that's kind of where it all started, where I really started to play every day, you know and then when I got into Dalhousie, I couldn't read music, but I showed the teachers that I had a love for it, and I'd always been good in school. I always had really good grades. So it was I convinced them that I was hungry to do it and that I would learn to read. And then I that was when I really got exposed to a lot of different styles of music, like Cuban music, classical music, jazz. Started playing in the jazz band, in the jazz band,
Yeah,
and like started learning how to read and started composing for like percussion ensemble, listening to guys like John Cage, that who would do what's that, like 3 minutes 52 or 2:14 or whatever it's called, like 2 minutes of silence. Like so the piano player comes up and he just like he sets the paper on the piano and he sits down and then he's quiet for like however many minutes, 3 minutes and 52 seconds, whatever it is, whatever the time amount is the name of the song. And then
wow, I didn't
everybody's
know
just
that.
like sitting there, like everybody in the audience is just like sitting there awkwardly while there's like this 3 minutes of silence, and then he gets up and walks off, and then he gets a standing ovation.
Yeah, yeah,
But it was like opening my mind to like different philosophies of like what is music, what is music performance, when does it become performance? Is it, if you're practicing in your room and you know that your neighbors listening to you play, is that is that now a performance? When are you
interesting.
actually only practicing? When are you performing? you know
No, interesting that you say that, because definitely we may get uh, uh, aware or self-conscious if we are like practicing, and all of a sudden, as you said, the neighbor or somebody else that we didn't expect is there listening. And it's interesting because it always creates, I mean, maybe to some people it creates a certain level of awkwardness. So, oh, okay, they're watching me. um,
uh-huh
it's not necessarily, it could make you feel uncomfortable, but not necessarily, it's not exclusively
no,
that.
it just changes your decisions.
Yeah, it's different, right?
Yeah.
And it can shift
Uh-huh.
that. um,
Uh-huh.
it's really interesting, like the perspective of the musician performer, and how the audience, or the expect the how the audience can influence you, the way you engage. I mentioned to you earlier when we were doing the sound test that I did, in January we did I put together a small group from where I grabbed some of the members of Plan H of my band, and
Uh-huh.
we performed at the music room, and we did like five songs, like more into the Celtic line, Spanish Celtic. I did an Irish song, like La Quinta Brigada
Yeah.
by Chris Moore, and and yeah, it was fun, just to, and I put some elements. The musicians that I brought in, they're also jazz. A couple of them are jazz musicians, so I told them let's string it, and it was interesting. But what was really awkward because of the pandemic, the music room was completely empty, and there was like two the friends actually that I happen to knew that we happen to knew. Everybody's all the musicians are connected here in the city, right?
Yeah.
They were the ones that were running the technical aspects of that, and then one Dario would sit on the back, and then the other one, Liam, he would be upstairs doing the mixing and controlling, and we had like robot cameras looking at us and switching positions. And man,
Uh-huh.
I was so nervous. I mean, part of that is the
Ah.
stress of the pandemic, but I'm
Yeah.
excited to perform. But there was no
Yes.
audience. I'm
Right.
there, but it's a
But at
larger
the same
room.
time, there is an audience.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it was
Yeah.
being
Which is
pre-recorded. It was
weird.
not even live, so it was really strange, right? And that I felt affected, by it. So
Uh-huh.
it's a way of that interaction, that philosophy you're talking about.
Yeah. And do you and what do you think of it now? Like, what do you think of live streaming now?
Well, I started with this idea at the beginning of the pandemic. Oh, I started like watching more, you know, podcasts on YouTube, some of the big YouTubers,
Uh-huh.
and I said, oh, that would be really cool to do, and I could learn. Well, nobody can hang out at this stage, so we could learn more, maybe share more information or some cool tips with everybody. And then it took me a long time to start it. I had some of the gear. I grabbed. I think I need maybe I got this microphone, but I had the interface and the uh, some of the gear already there. It just took me almost a year to start, right? And it's like
Yeah.
we started like, oh, I still need this, or I'm not sure, or I want to be perfect, and then I started. Probably the first episode was, I was to an extent more awkward. I mean, this I'm only starting. This is probably like the fifth one, and
Hmm.
but you can see the improvement. It's the same as you
Cool.
say, as the same as playing music every day, right? They feel awkward.
Right.
Oh, I can do this riff, but you only need to put one little bit, 1% every day, and then um, you get better at it. Yeah, and I think this is a great idea, man. Just to we get to catch up, and also
Yeah.
to share with everybody, what's
Hey,
happening.
hey, can I play you a song in Spanish? And but you're gonna critique my Spanish
No, señor,
and
vamos,
and
play it.
tell me if I'm tell me if I'm okay. Sound
No,
good?
all right, yeah,
Okay, one sec, one sec.
yeah, like to put me in the spot.
¿Estás escuchando?
Sí,
Sí.
listen.
And this this goes for our conversation with island, la mentalidad de una isla, the island mentality, right? Hay un secreto compartido entre las islas. Dicen en qué sentido para creerlo. La gente dice que hay que nacer ahí. Pero yo creo que para todos los temas hay manera. Atreve a la luna y la marea. Permite nadarte de tu temor. Para salvar que nos rodea. Canta palabras que una vez te contaron. El ritmo de las olas puede encontrar tu alma isleña. How's
Nice,
that?
man. Yeah, I'm gonna clap. I'm gonna clap like this.
I wrote that
That's
about people in Cape Breton, and people in Cuba.
What?
You know, the similarities.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like the island mentality, right?
Yeah, it's a mystery, or it's something that at least I haven't read enough specifically about that, but it's something that, yeah, science can describe, but we feel, we experience.
Uh
That's
huh.
Thanks for sharing that song, man. That's
Yeah,
I
my
like it.
pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You do a lot of teaching too, and I think
Uh huh.
that's an important part of who you are, and the message that you
Hmm.
want to to give to
Yeah.
others, and and that's also like a really good avenue of um, kind of polishing yourself as a musician. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, just tell us a little bit about your teaching experience. You've done
Yeah. I mean, I guess
private and schooling.
I kind of feel like I almost feel like it's part of my duty. You know, the more I learn, the more that people give me, then the more I have to share or something. You know, I think it's important to share the knowledge that I've been given, and maybe it's part of honoring, you know, the things that you've learned from people is spreading that knowledge um, as best you can. You know, I love to teach. I love working with kids. I love engaging with people through music, no matter what, no matter how good they are. Although I love playing with great players, I also love playing with people that have never played before in their life. I just wrote the past couple of months. I wrote 15 songs with Petitcodiac Regional School in New Brunswick, and then they're going to release that record and use the record as fundraising. And I'm in the process of converting all my workshops to virtual, and I've created this workshop with this kid Morgan Tony, and it's called Mi'kmaq Connections,
Nice.
and it's basically like all these songs that we've written together using Mi'kmaq spirituality and philosophies and well known phrases within the Mi'kmaq communities, um, and basically we talk. The idea is to have kids learn and share knowledge about you know how amazing that the Mi'kmaq, the First Nations community is.
Nice.
Yeah,
How fast? I mean, is that already on, or when is it going to be
yeah.
released?
We've done a few.
Okay.
We've done a few of the workshops so far with a few different schools, and I just yesterday I just sent an email to every school in Nova Scotia, and I played schools for 18 years. The past 18 years, I played almost every school in the province. I've been down with my workshops. I've been across the country multiple times. I don't know how many times I've been across the country just playing in schools. And usually my tours consist of like me playing schools on the weekdays, and then like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, maybe Sunday, I play shows at night. You know, a lot of the time in people's houses, and because that's what I found made me money. You know, that's what I found. I could feed my family doing that, and
Absolutely.
as opposed to, it's tough for a musician to play a bar and
Yeah.
come home with $100 or something. It's just not worth it. You can't. But schools and house concerts allowed me that opportunity to do what I love, play music, and tour the world. And I've been down to Tennessee, Dollywood. I met Dolly Parton twice.
Nice.
She was amazing. They hired me to do workshops down there. I've been in across the country doing workshops, teaching people music.
Very good. You have also
Yeah.
like collaborated with some of the well-known names in Cape Breton.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
I
is it
mean,
mostly like playing drums or guitar? What's and tell us a
well,
little bit about the experiences.
nowadays it's more songwriting. You know, I think that's what takes up most of my time these days. Even though I'm educated and have such a passion for drums, I never I never really minded what instrument I was playing. I just wanted to be playing music with people, and I guess part of the part of the thing that led me, was just like music is such a sink or swim industry, and so that's what I found could sustain me financially. And I love writing songs. I love playing with anyone in any capacity, but um writing songs is what has I found worked for me, for my sustainability and the sustainability of my family. you know
that phrase you just said, because I'm not, maybe it's like like one of the local expressions. You said something swim. What was that again?
oh, sink or swim.
Sink. Okay,
So
okay,
it's fail or keep paddling or fail, right?
yeah.
Sink or swim. And that yeah, that you hear that a lot, you know
That's good. No, it's one of the interesting, because there's a whole dictionary about Nova Scotian and Cape Breton, like phrases, right? And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And
and the
that's part of
Newfoundlanders, they
learning
have
the
their own as
language.
well.
Yeah, yeah. And you got to learn the swear words. You want to learn a language, you got to learn the swear words first.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's good, man. So as a band man, what have I mean? You have had some great experiences and successes. What
Mhm.
have you found the biggest challenges? Either being part of the band or leading a band.
um I mean, the biggest challenge is just like I find that there's always like a million to do for me. But the biggest challenge I think is weeding out the things that you don't need to do, you know, and the things that aren't going to make you money, because that's a big priority for me. I have I have 4 kids
Yeah,
and my partner and a mortgage and all those things that all have to be paid for. And so my priority is focusing on things that make me money. And that's like pretty much like the that's what leads me every day. I mean, it's kind of unfortunate in a way,
hmm
because I wish that I could just create all day long.
yeah,
But today, all day long, I've been writing a grant for Canada Council. you know I don't necessarily want to be doing that. It's not my love, it's not my passion, but I do it so that I can keep doing this.
absolutely. Well, it's yeah, there are challenges when it comes to that, but also it's in the wheel of music. So you're still in a, most people, when they say they go for the money, they go into professions that they hate, actually, and
Right.
you get paid well, but then the quality of your life is not out there if you hate your job, because then you're gonna be, well, what happens? So I mean, you may get the job done, but you're not happy about that, and then when you get home, if your boss said something or make you do something that you dislike, then you have all that bad energy or bad baggage do you bring back home, and it's just like,
Mhm.
yeah, they're like little caveats of the profession that we may not enjoy doing as much, but you're still within the music alley. So I think it's
Yeah,
it's good.
and I think that's a huge discovery for a lot of rich people, is that they figure out that it's not money that gives them happiness. It's the things that they do that they find satisfying that brings them happiness.
No, that's indeed, man. No, for sure.
Yeah, and
um
I mean, money can make it easier, but it's certainly not everything.
yeah,
Money is a priority to me, but it's not the utmost priority. The utmost priority is that I am able to create and
yeah.
collaborate, um, with all these beautiful people.
That's important, man, and so and especially to keep your mind in sanity, right? So you've
Uh-huh.
good. You've created a good system. I can see so far. What do you have to tell people or your musicians when it comes to getting better, believing in yourself more? What is a little bit of if you mind sharing a little bit of your system to becoming consistent and disciplined? I don't know. Grab the guitar
Hmm.
and force yourself, even though if you're not feeling good, force yourself to do, I don't know, 15, 30 minutes every day. If
Yeah.
you can share a little bit of those tips, or at least the ones that are have worked for you, because it's not
Yeah.
only one way, but
Hmm. What I say to people, there's a lot of people out there that, they say, ah, I wish I could learn to play guitar. I wish I could play one song around a campfire or something like that. And what I say is, promise yourself that you'll spend 5 minutes a day on your instrument of choice, on the instrument that you want to play. And it's kind of like running. Sometimes you run and you feel like you could run for a long time. You have lots of energy. Sometimes it's really hard work just to get that little bit in. Um, but a lot, with music, a lot of the time, if you promise yourself 5 minutes, you get on the other side of that practice and it's been an hour. It doesn't take long for an hour to pass by when you're playing music. But if you promise yourself 5 minutes every day, and then if you're not feeling it, put in the 5 minutes and then see where you're at. Sometimes you're not feeling it, you put in the 5 minutes, and then you're feeling it. you know
yeah,
so
yeah.
just but every day.
It's the way music resonates with our body. It's just, yeah, it creates that
Uh-huh.
little bit. As long as there's a little bit of a release of dopamine in our brain that, oh, we did something that I like, that
Uh-huh.
gets you going.
That's right. That's right, man. I love it. Love it so much.
That's good. If can you mention a little, because I had the idea to explore your thoughts and feelings. If you can mention a couple of highlights that have been meaningful to you in your music career, what would that be? What would those be?
Um hmm. I guess maybe a big one maybe would be playing the Olympics with Lenny Gallant. I was playing drums, 50,000 people, two Videotrons on each side of the band,
Oh, sweet. Where was that?
um, in Vancouver.
Oh, yeah. So the previous Olympics. Okay.
Yeah, actually, a funny story. We were flying in Air Canada, and our tickets were paid for by the Olympic Association. And so we're flying in, coming in Vancouver. We're so excited, man. Band, we're kicking ass too. Like the band was sounding really good, and everybody's feeling really good about the way we're playing. We come in, plane's coming down, pilot comes on deck. We'd like to thank you for flying Air Canada. If you choose a flight destination, we hope you choose Air Canada as your flight partner. And we'd like to make a special shout out to two of our Olympic athletes, Mr. Keith Mullins and Mr. Jamie Alcard was another guy in the band. But they thought because our ticket said it was paid for by the Olympic Association, they thought we were athletes. And there was like
Well,
400 people on the plane. We got a standing ovation. Everybody standing on the plane. And I was like this. And someone's it's like, oh, do you know who it is? I was like, some guy back there. And the other guy in the band who's a real clown, he's like, thank you, thank you, thank you. So that was a huge highlight. Playing the Olympics with Lenny Gallant, that was pretty big. Doing things like, meeting Dolly Parton, like first time I met Dolly Parton, uh, there was these drummers from France, and they played these drums called hang drums, and they were shaped picture like a steel drum from like
yeah,
Trinidad, a pan, but inside out, so it's shaped like a
yeah,
UFO.
yeah. The hang drums.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, and you play them
like a
and there's
spaceship,
these really
not like a UFO.
really beautiful very like almost dreamy, sleepy, like, and you play them with your hands, so it's really mellow. So this was the first time that Dolly had seen these instruments,
Hmm.
and so they're playing these, and she looked over to her partner, whoever she was with, and she said, "Bill," I think it was her uncle Bill Owens, and she goes, "Bill," and Bill just passed away last week. Uh,
Hmm.
what key is that in, Bill? And Bill's like, "I think that's in D minor, Dolly." And so she starts going like this thing with her nails, like doing these crazy percussive rhythms, like like deep south washboard stuff,
Hmm.
and like even like I was as a drummer, I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Like really amazing, like almost like Cubans would be blown away by this percussive stuff that she was doing
Just
with
with
her
her
hands,
nails?
just with her nails, right? And
Interesting.
they've got these mellow drums with these UFO like mellow steel drums played with your fingers, and Dolly starts doing this, and then she starts going, Jolene, Jolene, signature Dolly Parton voice, and it was like I had never had more shivers on my body from head to the like shivers on the bottom of my toenails, and it was like still to this day I think that was the greatest music experience that I've ever had in my life, to see a song like that had such impact from a person like that has such an impact on the world, which she does amazing things, not only musically but as just as a human being, as a humanitarian, and to play with these amazing drums, and for them to connect on a real level, and me and 15 other people in the room watching this go down.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man. And when you come when it comes to the songwriting and songwriting like workshops or songwriting circles, you do those too, right?
Uh huh.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what's I have myself. I've never been part of them. I think at some point, maybe they're all through Zoom now or online. But I think at some point I will benefit uh, uh, from that. But yeah, what can you describe a little bit of that experience? I mean,
Yeah.
for me to learn, and whoever it may
Yeah.
be watching, at least from your perspective, your experience. Yeah.
So when I write um, with students, so I've done songwriting workshop where I go into a school, I write a song in about 2 hours with a group of students, a class, anywhere from 5 to 25 kids. Um, I get them to free write. They just write whatever's on their mind. They want to tell me a story. They want to if they want to write rhymes, they don't have to write rhymes. I get them to write for 5 minutes, and then I grab all their papers, and I look through it, and I go, oh, this is cool. This is cool. Oh, listen to this. This is cool. And then I'll write a song about it, and I'll say, well, what style of music do you like? And then I'll start playing in that style, that most of the kids like. And so, for example, this morning I wrote my 15th song. I'm only like a verse and a chorus into it, and I'll see if I can bring it up here. I think I can. I hope it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
You
Um,
you can share on that share
I don't know if
screen
I.
feature.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's see. See if I
Just
can find it.
flick it
I have
on.
so many.
And that you did this morning with a group of students or with
Yeah,
someone specifically?
10 students in Petitcodiac in New Brunswick, and there's this kid, this teenage kid, and we were talking the rules that I wanted to write with these 15 songs that I wrote with the school was all COVID. related. So it had to be,
Huh.
you know, effects of the pandemic kind of thing.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna find it here. And she said, this girl said, my mom and my sister are in Nova Scotia. She said, so I couldn't see them for a really long time. And she said, and then she said, when the shooting happened
Mhm.
with, you know, the Nova Scotia shooting happened, she said her cousin was, a was shot and killed.
Oh man,
And
sorry to hear.
yeah, and that's what I was like, oh my god, I actually swore in class. I was like, oh shit. I was like, I'm so sorry. And and then we wrote this song, if I can find it. Oh, I know how to.
No, that's really sad, man. I we actually there was one lady that that we lost in that horror incident. She was one of the dancers that she was part of the salsa dancers in Halifax. She would come to my concerts, and she was
Uh-huh.
very active. Really sweet sweet lady that we um, that we lost, Gina. Yeah, it was really devastated to learn that, right? And
Right.
the entire
Okay.
community reacted to that. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Man, it was unbelievable. So this is after she said that. There was this guy that said, this teenage kid, and he originally actually said at the first of the session, he's like, uh, you know, I I don't think I'll be very good at writing songs, um, because I've never written a song before. I said, I actually think the opposite, because you're willing to say what's on your mind, and that is the most important part of writing a song, because sometimes, still to this day, I've written hundreds and hundreds of songs. Sometimes to this day, I will say the stupidest thing I've ever said in my life, but worst thing that could happen, it doesn't get that stupidest thing that I said doesn't make it to the song because nobody agrees with what I said, but it leads us to the right thing. And the most important thing is my ability to just say what's on my mind, and not mind,
Yeah.
that it might be the stupidest thing. So he came up with this line: "We won't do things so thoughtlessly anymore." And this girl that had her family, had passed away. Someone in her family passed away. She couldn't see her mom. She couldn't see her sister. And with her, we had written this thing. I know life is strangely quiet, and I know we need this time, but I still look to when we can get together and we can face what's on our minds. It's the kind of thing of like, when something large happens in your life, something's very impactful, you need to take the time to reflect and to figure out, you know, but at the same time, you can't go into a hole for the rest of your life. You need the experiences. You want, as people, you know, the experiences that affect us in our life, negative or positive. It would be great if we could come out of it better, no matter what happens. We always love the stories of that. We see when someone struggles, we see when someone has a hard time in life, and then they rise above and come out of it a better person. uh and then, so we have, I know life is strangely quiet, I know we need this time, but I look to when we can get together and face what's on our minds. And then the chorus is, you thought that I was crazy, I think I was just bored, but now here's, think about, we won't do things so thoughtlessly anymore.
Nice. Nice. And they
So
came
that's
from two
just
different
that's
individuals. That's amazing.
yeah. And the whole class too. We were all kind of like, people were kind of like saying this and saying that and saying this, and we had a real nice deep conversation, about life. and we wrote a verse and a chorus.
Wow, that's really good, man. Yeah, no, that's it's
Thanks.
very interesting to see. Yeah, just to see, we're so caught up into what we see and how we sometimes judge people by looking at them, and the way they look or the way they act, and they just sometimes completely overseeing a person, right?
Yeah.
That same student that say, "Oh, I've never done this before," I don't think I can write anything like good, and that came like a really nice phrase, sort of like.
Right.
And then you
Exactly.
can you
Exactly.
can it enhances also the collaboration aspect of the songwriting circle. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, man.
Hmm.
I
Yeah, my
yeah,
pleasure.
I enjoy
Hmm.
that. And so we have here, do we have a couple of more minutes?
Sure.
Yeah, no, that's that's amazing. Thank you for sharing all that. And um other than let's say, other than the music, we also want to know, one of the purposes of this podcast, when I bring in musicians, artists, and people that are also involved in science, uh, and interrelated as well. I like to just tap into know something that may not relate to what they're ideally, what they're speaking in, what they're talking about in the podcast. So is there any hobbies, or I don't know, like entrepreneurship or passions, either like techie or science wise, that something that you love to do, and normally nobody knows that you like that stuff?
I just got into cryptocurrency.
Yes. I have, yeah. I'm looking at it.
You
I sign
too?
up. I sign up for it, but I haven't invested yet.
What did you sign up with?
I just for now with Wealth
Yeah.
Simple.
Oh, with Wealth Simple. Okay. So Wealth Simple, you can. I also have some money in Wealth Simple, so you can only do Ethereum and Bitcoin with Wealth
Yeah.
Simple,
What
which
is
is
the other
great.
platform? I'm just
For the
just joining
for
another
more,
another platform, and I've been asking. So what are other platforms to
I
dive
use
in?
Kraken. Kraken.
Cracking. Yeah.
Kraken. Yeah, and um, I mean it's very. I love the idea of. I do have some money in stocks, but I love the idea of a decentralized currency. I love the idea of. I feel like there's something about cryptocurrency that is like shoving it to the the Wall Street like cronies, Wall Street mafia, that kind of control Wall Street and
Yeah.
control stocks, and there's so much greed, in that I think in that industry in that in those so I do there's something that I really love about cryptocurrency that's like the decentralized currency and investing in that. um and there's with Kraken there's I don't know maybe 20 or 30. It's Kraken, and a lot of people talk about Dogecoin, Do, like Elon
Yeah.
Musk talks a lot about Doge. I've got a little bit of money in Doge, maybe I don't know $300 or $400. But when I started, it was at but my cryptocurrency, in 2 months has already gone up by 25%. You
Nice.
know, and my Wealth Simple account that I had stocks in has only gone. It's still the same after 2 months.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I've been like I research stocks and research cryptocurrency. I'm kind of having fun with that in the past like I'd say I've been doing it for 6 months, but only put money in to both 2 months ago.
Nice. Yeah. No. No. Thanks.
Yeah,
That's awesome, because I've been looking into that. I haven't made the move yet, but definitely, definitely, I'm
it's
going
fun.
for that.
It's fun. I invested in Cardano. If you research this guy, I think his name's Hodgkinson. He used to be one of the guys for Ethereum, and then he broke off from Ethereum and he created Cardano. And he's
Hmm.
got some really great things to say about the philosophy of cryptocurrency and what it means for the future. Even though his currency, which is called Cardano ADA, it is hasn't really moved much, and he's not really he doesn't he doesn't try to control the price of it. He's like, that's not my game. I don't understand what whether the price goes up or down, and frankly, I don't care. I am just trying to create a sustainable, decentralized currency that the world can use. And so I think long game Cardano ADA is probably one of my favorites, just because I really love this guy and what he has to say. Um, and he's kind of like an uh, uh, early on cryptocurrency guy. I know.
it, interesting, man. No, it's certainly something to pay attention to, because we're at the edge of another like technological revolution, with a lot of things
Yeah.
that are happening. With the big data and artificial intelligence, all these big machine learning and algorithms, are now tapping into something that is really, really strange. Let's say with the quantum computers, that's
Uh
something that's
huh.
going to be to the next level. And I've been trying to keep a little bit an eye on those things.
And
um
it's almost like you're putting a value on information mining, and like a
yeah,
value on the time it takes to create that information. It kind of, in some ways, it actually makes more sense than valuing that because of the time it took to do it and the energy it took to do it, as opposed to something like gold or something.
yeah. So back in the day, before money, people would exchange seeds and food, right, as creating the value. And then the money, the bill thing came into the game, and the gold. And but yeah, this is
Mm-hmm.
it sounds like a pro, promising, and along with all the technological revolution that is happening, it's
Yeah,
amazing,
yeah.
man. Just lastly, thank you for sharing that. That really spike out the conversation even more. Amazing. uh when it comes to, I know we're limited, was still sort of limited when it comes to performances. And you talked about a little bit about your projects, um that you're working on. When it comes to your music, the music that you're producing, either like upcoming performances or workshops, where what can you tell us? Where can we find your latest album? Tell us a little
Mhm.
bit about the product that you're working on now.
Yep. Okay, so I have 5 albums that I'm almost finished, that I've co-written almost everything on, and produced and played 90% of the instruments: drums, bass, piano, guitar, harmonica, percussion. Um, I have shows. Let me look. Oh, I don't. Let me see. My July's empty. I don't know if you can see that, but
Hold on.
okay. Let's see. No, no. Okay, let's see. My upcoming shows. Um, I'm playing Antigonish at the Justamere Cafe next week. It's myself and Morgan Tony. I'm playing the Inverary Inn on the 23rd of April. I'm playing the Inverary. I play the Inverary Inn quite a bit because it's just around the corner. A lot of people ask me for shows, and I've been saying no a lot because I'm so busy, and I'm done with, because I'm playing music from, when I get the kids off to school at 9 a.m. on sometimes until the night. And so people have been asking me to play gigs, and I've been saying no, but you know, nothing like the word no to get your price up.
It happens.
And I got the Kitchen Fest in Cape Breton. That'll be in July. I'm talking to a lot of people about a lot of gigs. I'm working on a tour for August to Ontario and back. Hopefully the restrictions will be lifted that we can go there by then.
Yeah, man.
But I
No,
have
it's
a
been a
show
long.
booked in Ottawa.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's been a long
nice.
haul.
It's been a long, yeah.
Hmm.
And yeah, man, no, and I really like the idea. I like that you related that workshop with the effects of COVID in people, because that's a good way to express and bring some release to everybody.
Yeah.
So please keep everybody posted whenever you release that.
Yeah, I
Because
will.
yeah,
I will
a
for
lot of,
sure.
I'm sure a lot of people will love to and will comfort from
Yeah.
that, because you know
Mhm. Thank you.
still is the universal language.
Yeah. That's the thing about like this online thing is that sometimes it's hard to get people's the effects of your music on people as much, as opposed to, okay, when I remember, here's a highlight to uh when I played Lunenburg Folk Harbor Festival a couple of years ago, pre-COVID. And I had this song that I wrote with Dave Gunning. It's called Somebody Cares. You can check out the YouTube video for it, whoever's watching.
Write it down.
And it was a thank you to healthcare workers
Nice.
pre COVID, and I just thought, we Dave Gunning and I thought, oh man, healthcare workers, like, we should thank. They just need a thank you. We're grateful for what they do,
Was that
and
prior to the
man,
pandemic?
it was prior to the pandemic. Yep.
Did you get a blow whistle somewhere?
What's that?
Do you get a blow whistler?
A
Somebody
whistleblower?
told you, hey, there's a pandemic coming. You should write about this.
No, it was just like we just wanted to write the song to thank healthcare workers, and we thought
That's
that they
beautiful, man.
deserved it.
Yeah.
And what's amazing about it is that a couple of months later, the pandemic happened, and that they deserve thank you
Yes.
even so much more because whether whatever your beliefs are on coronavirus and COVID and all the rules and all that stuff, no matter what, healthcare workers are at the front of all this and working so much harder than they already did before. They are busting their ass for the world, for the benefit of everybody, and they deserve so many more thank yous. I played that song and I taught everybody in the audience the chorus, and everybody's singing along to me. And then at the end of the show, there's like this, like 85-year-old dude, and he's like walking slower than a Cuban on Fanta, and he's like just like slowly coming up to me, right? And he's like his eyes are right on me.
Oh, all right.
You there?
Yeah, you're back on.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Okay.
lost you for a second. All
There
right.
we go. And so he's slowly coming towards me, and as he gets closer to me, I notice there's a tear running down his cheek. And I don't know if there's anything heavier than a crying 85-year-old man. And he came up to me and he said, "I just want to thank you for writing that song." He said, "My wife, who I was with for 57 years, passed away 3 months ago." He's like pointing at my face and stuff. And I want to thank you for writing that song. And that song, for me, explained, helped me so much for everything the healthcare workers did for my wife and how amazing they were with her. So thank you. So, and I was like, I started crying myself. I was like, oh, thank you. That means so much to me. I think the whole thing with the live stream thing and the online thing, you know, it becomes more difficult to connect with people
Yes.
on a personal level, which is why we do what we do.
Well, we'll get him there. We'll get him there, man. I mean, definitely. Well,
We
we
are
are.
getting better.
You gave me goosebumps, by the way, with that. That was
No,
an amazing story. We're getting better at this. It's about adapting ourselves to be on the screen, because we have been for a long time we have been used to watching soap operas or movies and getting caught up into the script that was actually all pre-made and crafted
Right.
to make
And
us cry and
pre-written,
engage with it. Oh
pre-scripted.
no! Yes,
Yes. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
now we're the actors too. We need to learn because
Uh-huh.
it's a way to express our feelings. So it's yeah. Thank you so much, man. It's
My
been
pleasure.
amazing it's been amazing to have you and connect. We haven't talked in a little while. Yeah, we here and there.
Wow.
We chat on Facebook, but yeah, this has been an amazing experience. And everybody just keep an eyes. The people from Antigonish and Cape Breton, just keep an eye on next performances. And please, you're really good at keeping people posted on the social media platforms. But please, to reiterate that, let us know when
Yeah,
you
feel
when you
free
finish
to
the most recent
Facebook
projects. Mhm.
Facebook request me, and I just like to say that I'm grateful for you, Marcel, and I love what you have to offer. I love the way you play, and I love your Cuban heritage, and
Hmm.
I
Thank you.
love your Cape Breton influence, and you and I have really connected on that level big time.
Yeah.
And I've never met anyone in the world like you that has those same things, deeply embedded in your brain, just like me. So I appreciate you.
Thank you, man. Well, we should do something more about it. Yeah.
I would love that.
Let's bring the love through music.
Yeah.
Right on, my man. So yeah, that will be it for today. Thank you so much for being here, Keith, with us today. And yeah, please subscribe to the channel. It's Marcela Mores on YouTube, and this is I'm adding like more days to the streaming of the week. So see how I can keep up with that. So far, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm expressing myself better because I'm still on the learning curve, but I'm very happy. I'm very happy. I find your presence here is very important. Thank you for sharing all that, man.
Thank you. Cuídate,
Right on.
amigo.
Yeah. Cuídate también, amigo. Right. That's all for today, everybody. Please stay tuned. Support the channel. Give us a like, subscribe, watch for upcoming events. Thank you so much. See you, amigo.